Hey everyone, Shamrock Pixie here. So I am doing a follow-up video from my announcements and something amiss video. There was a section that had something kind of floating across the back that started over here and then, or actually over in here, and then kind of disappeared over in this area. And I wasn't sure exactly what it was, so it kind of creeped me out. And coming from somebody who absolutely loves anything that has to do with paranormal, hauntings, just things like that. So for me to get creeped out, it was unexpected. And so I'm just doing a follow-up video, try to kind of explain some other things that have happened here. So I should have known that something was going to eventually happen while making videos for you guys. So we moved here about 5 years ago, about five and a half years ago. And the first week we were here, the kids were visiting family, and we had the living room set up with the TV and everything. And the way our living room and dining room, it's like all one section, and then when you go through the dining room, there's the kitchen, but then off our living room is me and my fiance's bedroom. And so the first week we were here, we were sitting there watching TV. It was at night. The kids were with family for the weekend, and there was like something kept catching my eye. It was running from our closet, which is right next to our bedroom door. We have French doors that open up from the closet into the other half of the bedroom, and then it would run from the other half of the bedroom into the closet. And I thought I was just like seeing things and thought I was a little crazy at that point, but then it just kept happening. And my fiance looks at me, he's like, "What are you doing?" Because I just kind of stare off into our bedroom doors, or into our bedroom, and I finally was like, "Look, I keep seeing this little girl running back and forth." And so he's like, "Well, I don't know what you're seeing." He's like, "I don't see it." He's like, "The kids aren't here, so we know it's not our daughter." And I'm like, okay. And so started watching the movie with them again, and it kept happening. So I went and I picked up my cell phone and tried to be as quiet as I could and tried to record it. Well, I didn't get anything. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm tired. And then a little while later, I think it was like a couple weeks later, I was still setting stuff up from our move, and I saw who I thought was my daughter running around the corner. And it was at night again, and she was supposed to be in bed. Both the kids were supposed to be in bed. And so I was like, "Jaslyn, get to bed." And she didn't say anything. She just kind of like looked like she ran up the stairs, up to the kids' room. And I'm like, so I followed, and I went upstairs and I checked, and my daughter was sound asleep. And I called my daughter's name, and there was nothing. She didn't respond. She didn't move. So I knew she had been sleeping. And it happened a couple other times after that in the first 2-3 months that we lived here. And then there was nothing. And then, I don't know, a couple months after that, after the last thing that happened, we ended up with this old lady. She had short hair and tall, and I'm 5 foot even, so I wasn't sure. I mean, she was tall to me. And so we were laying in bed, we were watching TV, and we had one of the French doors closed and the other one open, and I just thought I saw somebody open the door. and I'm talking about the one that was already closed, and I knew that wasn't possible because we had the one door locked, because up at the top it locks, but it looked like it moved, and so I kind of was like, what's going on here? And so I watched, and then I turned back to the TV, and I saw somebody standing, like, peeking their head around the door that was shut. And I'm like, honey, there's a lady standing in our doorway. She's got her head peeked around, and he looks, and there's nothing there. And so for the longest time, I thought I was the only one in the house that was seeing things that were, like, all these spookies that was going on. And then it was crazy. So fast forward about a year, and so my brother-in-law, future brother-in-law, he passed away about 2 years ago, but he was here, and he had made a comment to me about, he thought I was up in the middle of the night walking around being loud, and I wasn't. But he swore he thought he saw me walking around. And I'm like, no, I wasn't up. I don't know what you're talking about. And then it dawned after he left that weekend, do we have a new spooky in the house? And so he ended up thinking that he was crazy. And then he came. So the thing with him was that he would come on Memorial Weekend, 4th of July, Labor Day weekend. And then he would show up a couple times in between that during the summer to hang out. And so the next time he came, I was talking with him about it, and I was telling him about how, it wasn't him. He wasn't crazy, that there were weird things that were going on. And he was like, oh, okay. It's like, no big deal. And so I guess he had a couple other experiences. I'm not exactly sure what they were at that point, but he's not here anymore for me to ask him. So fast forward again, when my future brother-in-law passed away, it was really hard on us. It was unexpected. We're still waiting to hear information on it, but there's not anything at this point that we can do other than just sit and wait. So about a month after he passed, we were sleeping. Me and my fiance were sleeping, and sorry about that. And about between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, he had awoken. He wasn't sure why, but he just kind of awoke, and he said that there was a little girl that was standing in our doorway, and he thought that it was our daughter. And he said that all she did was look at him, like she moved and went like this and just said, wake up, and then went like this, and he thought it was our daughter as well, just goofing around. So he got up out of bed, and he put on his robe, and he went upstairs to yell at her to stay in. You can't do that kind of stuff. You have to stay in bed at night unless you're using the restroom. And she was out cold. She was sleeping. It was not her. So the next that morning when I woke up, he started telling me about it. Now, I had not described what the girl looked like or anything like that, because he usually picks on me about seeing spookies and just makes some jokes and stuff like that. But he that morning he told me, he was like, I think I saw her. And I'm like, who? And he's like, the little girl. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, why didn't you wake me up? He's like, because I think I was half asleep. I don't know. And I'm like, no, tell me what she looked like. And so he described her to a T on the same little girl that I was seeing running around the house. And so it was crazy. and then it stopped for a little bit after that. And then this year it's been a little bit more active than normal. Oh, and I forgot to also say that the night or the day that my future brother-in-law passed away, now we have never had bats in our house before, and then the night that we came home from dealing with the situation with my future brother-in-law, we ended up with a bat in the house. And for 2 more days after that, so for 3 days in a row, we ended up with a new bat in our house for 3 days. I don't like bats. My fiance doesn't like bats. But the last conversation him and his brother had were about bats. And so it was kind of weird that we ended up with, all of a sudden, we were living here for almost 4 years, a little over 4 years at that point. Or was it 3? 3 or 4 years, and never had a bat problem. We had bee problems, but we never had a bat problem. And ever since then, it seems like every other month we have, for 3 days in a row, bats in our house. So it's trying to get them out of the house is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's very annoying when they happen. And so I had to tell you a little bat story because this next part that happened was very crazy for both me and my fiance. We, once again, it was at night, and, give me a second. My coffee. I love my coffee. So we were laying in bed this year, at the beginning of summer, I believe it was, and we had our doors closed, and the kids were sleeping in the living room, because it was movie night for them. On the weekends, we let them watch movies at night, stay up, do that kind of thing, and then they just kind of fall asleep in the living room. And so, this particular night, we had, the light was on in the living room, and so we had our bedroom doors closed, and so we were watching a movie in our bedroom, so that we could fall asleep. And we were just laying there, and I don't even remember what was on the TV, because both him and I jumped because something hit the glass, because we have the French doors that have kind of like the glass in them, frosted glass, but something hit the glass really hard and did this to our doors, like it vibrated the doors. That's how hard it hit. And so we thought maybe the kids were throwing something around. And so we opened the door. They were both out. They were both sleeping. And we were like, what was that? And so we looked around and thought, well, maybe it was a bat. And it was the kind of a shape of a bat. And like the shadow of it was like the shape of a bat. So we were looking all over for a bat. And there was nothing. There was no balls. There was no bat. There was no pillows that had been thrown. Like I said, both the kids were sleeping. And so we have no idea to this day what that was that hit our door so hard that it literally vibrated the doors. And that made both him and I jump. And then, let's see, there is another thing that happened just recently. I can't think of it. Oh, again, with our doors. I don't know, it was like somebody was trying to open it, and because we had them shut again, and they click, and so it sounded like somebody was jiggling the door trying to get in, but couldn't get in. And so we have weird things like that happen. It's sometimes a little freaky, sometimes a little exciting, because it's like, oh, did you see that? I know you saw that. And my fiance always likes to pick on me about it, but he has had some experiences here along with me. So it's living in a house like this, I'm kind of used to, because I have lived in a lot of places that have had ghosts and spookies and stuff like that, but nothing to the point where I've actually caught it on camera. So I'm going to put in the video of that spot of from the other day, the video, and then just kind of play it out and then see what you guys think. Please put it in the comments below what you possibly think it is, because me and a friend of mine that was here that night went through this whole area trying to figure out what it possibly could be. I thought maybe it was cotton or fuzz or spider web, and there was nothing. We could not find anything that could explain what that was. And then also, if you have any type of ghost stories, things that have happened to you in your house, different houses that you've lived in, how many of them have been haunted, let me know. I would gladly love to read them and hear about that and go from there. So I'm going to stop the video at this moment so that I'm still learning how to add everything in, so that I can input the short video of what happened the other night, and then I will come back. He's got a lot to do, so what is that? Okay, I'm back. I think I figured it out to where the video is put in. And so, like I said, I'm still learning how to do all that stuff. So it's in there. But it comes from the left side. As you're looking at your screen, it comes from the left side over this way, which is my right side, on this side of the camera, to the left side for me, but right side on you. I don't know what it is. So if you guys have ideas on what it could be, that would be great. I talked to my aunt, and my auntie believes that it could be either a fairy, pixie, spirit, just something letting me know that they're here and that I'm okay and watching over me, that kind of thing. But like I said, I didn't get a bad feeling from it. I just was creeped out because I wasn't expecting to catch anything on camera. So yeah, just tell me your thoughts down below, and I will do a part 2 of this, especially if anything else happens in the house. I will let you know. I will try to get video or pictures or something along that lines of it. I know that night that it messed with my audio, whatever it was. So my sound quality was really crappy and very staticky, which isn't usually the case. And then it just kind of appeared. And I also noticed too that I look over my shoulder, which I didn't realize I did until I was watching it again to see what was going on. And so whatever it was, it definitely made its presence known. Again, if you have any ghost stories that you'd like to share, I am more than willing to read them, and I might even put one up on my next video, part 2 of the Spookies, and go from there. Again, thank you everybody for stopping by. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like button, and the little bell for updates. You have a wonderful rest of your night. Good night.